That's right. We think that there is a platform out there that could potentially be the death of Airbnb for many. And you know, when Airbnb started in 2009, it had a strapline which was travel like a human. And what it basically did is it enabled people to provide a room in their home for other people to stay in. And it was a great idea. It connected people as humans. Incidentally, we are in Norway. Where are we, Sarah?
We're in Skåne.
Skåne in Norway on a cruise. If you're interested in our cruise content, then you need to come back in a couple of weeks' time, because we got a lot to say about cruising as well. We did a 32-night cruise, didn't go according to plan, and we want to talk about it from the perspective of geo-arbitrage. So getting back to the purpose of today's video, in the Verge magazine, Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky even stated recently that that original plan for the business kind of bored him, and that's why Airbnb has grown into the platform it's become today. Interestingly, if you've looked at Airbnb's marketing recently, you'll see that they've reintroduced this concept of staying in somebody's room in a house. And this is mainly due to feedback to say that Airbnb has just become too expensive. But Chesky went on to say in that Verge interview that he was getting feedback that this model wasn't working either. Actually, I'm going to take a seat now to go through the rest of this. I've got a lot to talk about. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Airbnb hosts are feeling a little bit uncomfortable as well, allowing people into their homes and having these kind of new friends that they have never even met before. And that's the reason why I'm making today's short video. I believe there is a platform out there today that is really fulfilling the promise of what Airbnb wanted in those early days. And it's got a number of amazing positives, but it has got one big drawback that I'll cover in this video. And that platform is called Trusted House Sitters. You may or may not have heard of it, but more sits that Sarah and I do, the more questions we get from friends saying, what is this? It just seems a really confusing thing. And that's what I want to set out quickly in this video. And like Airbnb, it has a human side. It has two human sides. It has to satisfy the needs of the house sitter and the needs of the house sittee. And what's the product on offer? Well, for the sitter, they get to stay in a home and even have the potential of looking after some much-loved pets while they're there. And for the sittee, or the person providing the sit, they have the opportunity to leave their property for vacation or even maybe longer, knowing that there's someone in there that they trust to look after the property and look after their pets. So what about the cost? And I think this is the area where Trusted House Sitters has the opportunity to step into the space that Airbnb are in today, because the cost for a sit is nothing. And the cost to provide a sit, to have people come to your home, is nothing. So Trusted House Sitters is actually a subscription service. And there are multiple levels that you can sign up to, right up to getting full liability insurance if you so desire. But to be a house sitter, which is really the people I want to talk to today, the cost is no more than £200 if you go for the top end service they provide at the moment. And that's for an annual subscription. So you can work out for yourself that if you're going to be doing many sits, if you're going to sit for, I don't know, anything more than 2 days in a year, it really pays for itself and is competing with Airbnb. Now, if like Sarah and I, you travel a lot and you may be house sitting for 3 months, that's going to cost you, for your accommodation in that period, £199. Now you tell me anywhere in the world where you can get accommodation for months at a time for an annual fee of £199. And this may be a little bit pressing at the moment because, you know, there's this cost of living crisis you hear about. That's another area where I think Trusted House Sitters could step into this. Now, before I go any further, a quick aside, because I'm sure people are going to say, oh, this is sponsored content. Something Sarah and I are extremely proud of is in the 2.5 years that we've been making videos, we haven't had one sponsor. We've had a lot of offers and we've rejected every one. In fact, I've reached out to Trusted House Sitters about this video and they are interested in working with us on a sponsorship opportunity going forward. But what I wanted to do is get this out here without any of that. This is what we truly think of Trusted House Sitters. There is absolutely no affiliation and no kickback for Sarah and I of me telling you what I know today. So how does it work in real terms? Well, it's a website and an app on your phone, and it operates much like a matchmaking website. So people will put sits on there where they're looking for sitters, and sitters will look on that platform and select a sit that they think works well for them. If you see something you like, then you can just click on that and go into the detail. So earlier on, I did this whilst back on this ship. So let's go through what I screen recorded and explain the basics, the mechanics of how the Trusted House Sitters platform works. Right, so this is the web interface. I'm interested in finding a house sit. Incidentally, by the way, I've got a bit of a cold, so I sound a bit rough. You can see on the globe here there are literally thousands of sits around the world. Let's say we want to go to York in the UK. So it's a lovely little city. If you've never been there before, highly recommend it. Now what you can do here, they've got some really cool filters. So you could say interested in the month of October or whenever, or you could just say for 3 months or whatever that. Duration, you could say, well, I want a minimum of a week. You can go right up to 6 months. But let's say we're looking for something a week long. And for Sarah and I, we prefer cats because we love cats. That's probably all that we would do on a filter. And then you see the sits come in down here. Now, interestingly, you'll see sometimes this thing appears saying low applications. That means that there haven't been too many people applying for that specific sit. Now, this fella here looks interesting. And when we click through, we can see this is based in York, medieval city with cuddly companions. 2 of them, to be exact. There'll be a whole series of photos, but I'm not going to go through those for obvious reasons. And more information and home location, and also what amenities that you would find on site. So, that's the basic information. When you apply, you click here and type in the details here. So I mentioned there is a potential drawback, and that drawback is one word. One word you'll see in all listings on the Trusted House Sitters website, and that word is responsibilities. No one likes responsibilities. That's why I retired early to travel the world. I was getting a bit sick of all those responsibilities, and now I'm looking at doing it again on Trusted House Sitters. Well, let me explain what that's all about. Trusted House Sitters is a true exchange where no money changes hands. You are, as a house sitter, providing a service to the people that are providing you their pets and their home to stay in. And as such, there's got to be some comeback. So you don't just walk into a property and see that there's a cat or a dog there and go, well, I'll feed that every now and again. There are set responsibilities, and depending on the sit and the condition of the animal you're looking after, there may be medical problems to deal with, and it is your responsibility, absolutely, to respond to those responsibilities. And this responsibility may not just be for the pet, it could well be for the property too. There are some properties which are huge. You'll see that on Trusted House Sitters. It may even be a farm you're being asked to look after. So there may be tasks around there, water the flowers or put hay down for the lambs or whatever it is. Or you may be asked to put the bins out and separate into recycled, non-recycled. Actually, if you want my view on Airbnb doing the same, check the video that's just listed up here at the moment. And that's why Trusted House Sitters is different. You're doing this and you're not being charged for it, and that makes you want to support and help the people that you're sitting for. So once you see a sit that piques your interest, then what you need to do is click on it, and you've got a big box on screen for you to sell yourself. And in there, this is again a bit like it being a matchmaking site, but look at it more as a job interview or a job application. So this is your opportunity to sell, to say why they should take you on as their house sitter, because believe me, Trusted House Sitters is a competitive platform. You can't just rock up, pick one and go and do it. If you look at this like a job interview or a job application, you wouldn't put on your application form, would you? You wouldn't say,
one of the things about me you'll find is I like to go home promptly at the end of my shift. I don't like sticking around for 1 minute extra.
Or,
I don't like stepping outside of my own responsibilities. If there is hitting the fan over there, I want to stay doing what I do here.
if you are that kind of person, I recommend that Trusted House Sitters is not for you. Switch off this video and go and watch something a little bit more entertaining. And the responsibilities will impinge on your time. That is a given, but you need to manage that with good grace. And sometimes things go wrong and you have to manage those too. And then, like a job application, the people that you're applying to the sit for are interested in your references. And this is a big, big part of why this is called Trusted House Sitters. You need to take time to build trust. The first step that you do to achieve that is when you go on the program, you need to get a friend to do a character reference for you because you haven't done a sit. And then if you're really serious about doing house sitting, what I strongly recommend you do is find some local sits to where you live, or if you're nomadic, where you're staying at that time. And they may only be short, might be a night or two, and might be a bit of an imposition, but you're doing it from the perspective of getting reviews. So do those house sits, do them fantastically, get amazing reviews, and then you'll find the house sits really start to roll in for you. And if the person who's reading your application, the person who's got the sit, likes the cut of your jib, they like what you're all about, then they may well ask you for a video call. In fact, every house sit we've done, we have had a video call. And to be honest, we wouldn't do a house sit without that. So this has just been a real quick introduction to the platform of Trusted House Sitters. Remember, we are not involved with these guys at all. But if you want more tips, advice, and maybe some of the stories of the sits that we've done, let us know in the comments, because really at the moment, I've no idea whether our viewers are interested in something like this. And if you are, what I will do is I'll respond back to Trusted House Sitters and take them up on their offer of being more affiliated with them, and that would give you a huge bonus in signing up to Trusted House Sitters. But I don't want to, as I said earlier, we've not done one sponsorship, so I don't want to just do one and then I can never say that again, and I realise no one's even interested in it. So if this is something you're interested in, let us know in the comments. That is critical. I mentioned earlier our video about the issues that we're seeing with the Airbnb platform. If you haven't seen that, then I'll link to it down here now. Next week, we're going to be comparing Airbnb to Trusted House Sitters and the old traditional comfortable hotel, and which one you should use when you're traveling the world. You should use all of them, but there are different places where you should employ those. Again, this ship here, we're going to be talking about that in 2 to 3 weeks' time. As I say, we did a 32-night cruise. This is a 14-night cruise. We have got a lot to say about cruising. Should you use it as part of your slow travel around the world? We're going to let you know. You've been watching To Go Roam. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.